For thousands of years, a civilization flourished along the banks of the Nile, a beacon of power, mystery, and innovation that continues to captivate us to this day. This is the story of ancient Egypt, the civilization that, in many ways, refused to die. When we think of Egypt, what comes to mind? Towering pyramids, golden-faced pharaohs, and cryptic hieroglyphs, right? But ancient Egypt was so much more than its iconic monuments. It was a society that mastered its environment, created a complex spiritual world, and laid the foundations for much of what we know today. It all started around 3100 BC with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt under a king named Narmer. This marked the beginning of the dynastic period, a nearly 3,000-year-long era of pharaonic rule. The pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was considered a living god on earth, a bridge between the heavens and humanity. This divine authority gave the pharaoh absolute power, allowing for the mobilization of vast resources and manpower to build projects on an unimaginable scale. And of course, we have to talk about the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for the pharaoh Khufu, was the tallest man-made structure in the world for nearly 4 millennia. It's an architectural marvel, built with over 2 million massive stone blocks, some weighing as much as a school bus. How did they do it? Even today, with all our modern technology, we are still piecing together the exact methods. But what we do know is that it required brilliant engineering, precise mathematical calculations, and an incredibly organized workforce. These weren't just tombs. They were eternal resurrection machines designed to ensure the pharaoh's successful journey into the afterlife. The afterlife was the central focus of Egyptian life. They believed that death was not an end, but a transition to another, eternal existence. This is why mummification was so important. The process, which could take up to 70 days, was designed to preserve the body perfectly so that the soul, or the Ka and Ba, could recognize it and reunite with it in the afterlife. The organs were removed and stored in canopic jars, while the body was dried out with natron salt and wrapped in layers of linen. They would bury their dead with everything they might need in the next world, from food and furniture to games and even boats. The tomb of Tutankhamun, discovered in 1922, gave us a breathtaking glimpse into this practice, with its thousands of perfectly preserved artifacts. But daily life for the average Egyptian was far from the golden splendor of a pharaoh's tomb. Most people were farmers, their lives governed by the annual flooding of the Nile. They called their land Kemet, the Black Land, referring to the rich, fertile silt left behind by the floodwaters, which made agriculture possible in the middle of the desert. The river was their highway, their source of water, and the very foundation of their existence. When the Nile flooded, farmers would often work on the pharaoh's construction projects, and when the waters receded, they would plant their crops of wheat and barley. Egyptian society was highly structured. At the top was the pharaoh, followed by his vizier, nobles, and priests. Priests were incredibly powerful, as they were the intermediaries between the gods and the people. They managed the temples, which were not just places of worship, but also economic centers, owning vast tracts of land and employing thousands. Below them were the scribes, the literate elite of Egyptian society. Learning to read and write the complex system of hieroglyphs took years of training. Scribes were the record keepers, the accountants, and the administrators who kept the entire kingdom running. They wrote on papyrus, an early form of paper made from the reeds that grew along the Nile. Then came the artisans and craftsmen, the stonemasons, carpenters, jewelers, and potters, who created the beautiful objects we see in museums today. And at the bottom of the social ladder were the farmers and laborers who formed the backbone of the economy. Interestingly, women in ancient Egypt enjoyed a relatively high status compared to other ancient societies. They could own property, run businesses, and even inherit the throne. We know of several powerful female pharaohs, like Hatshepsut, who ruled successfully for over 20 years. The Egyptians were also brilliant innovators. They developed a 365-day calendar based on the solar cycle, which is remarkably similar to the one we use today. Their understanding of medicine was advanced for their time. Medical papyri show they could diagnose illnesses, set broken bones, and even perform simple surgeries. They made significant strides in mathematics, particularly in geometry, which was essential for land surveying after the annual Nile flood, and for constructing their massive monuments. Of course, no empire lasts forever. Over the centuries, Egypt faced invasions from foreign powers, including the Hyksos, the Assyrians, and the Persians. But each time, the resilient culture of the Nile Valley seemed to bounce back. The final chapter of ancient Egypt's independence came with the arrival of Alexander the Great in 332 BC, which ushered in the Ptolemaic dynasty. The last ruler of this dynasty was the famous Cleopatra VII. After her death in 30 BC, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, and the age of the pharaohs was officially over. So why do we say this is a civilization that refused to die? Because its legacy is all around us. Its monumental architecture still stands against the desert sands, defying the passage of time. The secrets of its language, hieroglyphics, were unlocked in the 19th century with the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, allowing us to hear the voices of the ancient Egyptians themselves. Their ideas on leadership, religion, and the afterlife shaped subsequent civilizations. Their innovations in science and mathematics laid groundwork for future discoveries. Ancient Egypt wasn't just a collection of pyramids and mummies. It was a dynamic, sophisticated, and enduring culture that has left an indelible mark on human history. It continues to inspire awe, spark our imaginations, and remind us of the incredible heights that humanity can achieve. Its story is a testament to the enduring power of human ingenuity and the desire for eternity. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. See you next time.